What's up? Thank you guys for tuning in to Sportshead Radio. My name is Emmanuel, your gracious host. This show is brought to you by the Space Entertainment Network. We're going to talk about the Southeast Division and the Eastern Conference. Number one, I have the Wizards. The Wizards are a playoff team. Obviously, to me, the problem with this team is I feel like they don't have a particular closer who could close out games, but this team is talented enough to get to the playoffs. They're definitely a top 5 or 6 seed team in the Eastern Conference. They have John Wall. They have Bradley Beal. You have Otto Porter, Serapin, I believe, and then you have obviously Dwight Howard. He could be the guy who could be the X factor for this team, taking the next level in terms of being a post presence, blocking shots, rebounding, impacting the floor, both ends of the floor. And then obviously it was last year he mentioned about that he was gonna work on his 3-point shooting, stretching the floor, which is pretty interesting. So we'll see with that. But they're definitely a playoff team. I'm looking at Kelly Oubre. Oubre is a guy you want to keep an eye out coming off the bench. The Wizards are going to be a solid team. They'll probably be a 5 or 6 seed in Eastern Conference, and they could probably cause some trouble. You never know. Number 2, I have the Miami Heat. Miami Heat has potential to be a playoff team. Goran Dragic was out for a good period of time. Tyler Johnson had to take over the reins for being the starting point guard. They had Wayne Ellington, who was phenomenal in terms of 3-point shooting. I believe he had one of the best 3-point percentages in the NBA last year. And he was in a 3-point competition as well on All-Star Weekend. They have Josh Richardson. They have Justice Winslow. Winslow has to take the next step. He has to take the next step. Hassan Whiteside looked pretty lost. It looked like he lost his step last year. I feel like he didn't play with no passion. I like him a lot as a player. He could impact the floor, both ends. But he has to take the next step. Hassan Whiteside, you got that big contract, and you've been in the trade rumors for the past season and a half. The Dragic is going to be the guy, probably be the number 1 scoring option, and we'll see how that plays out. They have some pieces on that team that could produce, and they got Johnson as well, the tweener that play the 3 and the 4. I do believe they're going to be in the playoffs though. Next one is the Charlotte Hornets. They did sign Tony Parker. Interesting signing. Also, Mitch Kupchak's the new GM there, former Laker GM. He decided to trade for Timothy Mozgov, his old friend. Seems like he likes him a lot lately, you know. They got Tony Parker, Nicholas Batum's coming back off of injury. Kemba Walker. Obviously, you heard a lot of trade rumors with Kemba Walker. Will he be traded? Will he go to this team? Will he go to that team? He's the best fit. Now he's saying he wants to be there long term. But what is Charlotte really going to do with him after this season? They have a huge decision to make. Are they going to offer him a contract extension, or are they just going to let him go, or are they going to trade him to get some assets in return? I like Malik Monk. They got Dwayne Bacon, 2 good guards. Miles Bridges, their 1st round pick for Michigan State. He played the 2, the 3, and the 4. Can they be a playoff team? Possibly. I feel like they're going to be fighting. The next team is the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic, I feel like they're just stockpiling talent, and they have like no direction. They got rid of Elfrid Payton. Now they have DJ Augustine. He's probably going to be the starting point guard. Evan Fournier. Mario Hondrosa is gone. They got Aaron Gordon. Jonathan Isaac. I feel like he has crazy upside. They got Mo Bamba from Texas, shot blocker. And they got Nikola Vucevic as well. I feel like the front court is pretty crowded, but this team, talent-wise, they could do something. I feel like they have to grow together. They do got Jonathan Simmons from the Spurs. My last one is the rebuilding Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, they're rebuilding. They drafted Trae Young, which is a good thing. They needed a point guard, Steph Curry range, a solid ball handler. He's a good passer. He has to work on his decision making at times. They got Kent Bazemore there. You have John Collins. I think he's a very sleeper for fantasy, for power forward and rebounds. They got Denman at center. They're a rebuilding team. They're going to have a horrible record. They're probably going to be in the lottery, top 3 in the lottery.